Hey guys, Jay Builds here. Welcome back, and today we're going to be building some floating shelves. I've had this project on my list for quite some time, so I'm glad to have finished it, but I was very pleased with how everything turned out at the end. These shelves are 4-inch deep and about 27 inches long, and they were mounted using the French cleat method, which I'll cover towards the end of the video. I started with some 3/4 inch walnut plywood boards, and I pulled out my jointer jig to start jointing one side on each of the boards. After that, I started ripping down 4-inch wide strips of wood on each board, as 4-inch is the dimension that I had chosen as the depth for my shelves. You could go smaller or more wider depending on what you need. Once I had the 4-inch strips cut, I changed the bevel angle on the miter saw to 45 degrees and started beveling each of the sides. On the top and bottom piece, I only had to do one side, and then the middle piece, I did both sides. I trimmed down all the strips of wood to the same length, and then my plan was to use the leftover cutoffs as the end pieces on each side. And here I am just cutting the end pieces here once I had the correct measurement. I decided to go with pocket holes on this just to keep things simple. Here you can see I started drilling the pocket holes on each corner on the top and bottom pieces. Once I had the side pieces attached, I went ahead and flipped it over and glued up the middle piece. Once everything was assembled, I went ahead and did some light sanding. The plywood that I was using was pre-sanded, but I just went ahead and hit it with some 220 grit sandpaper. Next, I started staining using General Finishes Antique Walnut Gel Stain. I've used this on many other projects, and I really like how the end result of this stain turns out. Now it's time to cut the piece for the French cleat. The French cleat is a very simple design for mounting different kinds of shelves to the wall. Basically, you just take a strip of wood, gets cut at a 45-degree angle, and then one strip is mounted to a wall, and the other one is obviously mounted to your workpiece. So I started with some 3/4 inch Baltic birch plywood that I had left, and cut a strip of that. I then set my blade to 45-inch tilt and started ripping down almost towards the middle of the strip. I had to offset it a little bit just to make sure that I would be able to fit it in the back of the piece. And then once I did that, I just trimmed it to size. I then attached the top piece of the French cleat to the back inside on the floating shelf, again using some pocket holes. To mount the wall piece, I first measured the center of where I was going to be mounting it, and then marked the center on the back of the piece that I was attaching. I then used a stud finder to determine where the studs are, and just used some 2-inch long screws to attach that. And then after that, it was just a matter of setting the shelf on top of the piece and fitting it into position. And that's it. Like I said, very pleased with how it turned out. Let me know what you guys think.